y'all, welcome back to the farmhouse. Today I am my own filming guru, so there's a tripod involved. That's all. Today we're making some butternut squash soup, and then what we're gonna, pardon the dog in the background, he has an ear infection and we're treating it, and he hates the stuff in his ears. Anyway, what we're going to do is make butternut squash soup, roasted butternut squash soup. And then we're going to puree it and freeze dry it to keep for the winter instead of canning it. It's a thing I want to try. And I may put some in the freezer as well. It depends on how much it makes and, how much fits on trays. But to start, we have to chop up all of these. Oh, I forgot a spoon. Spoon is the easiest way to get seeds out of a squash. I don't know if you know that, but if you don't, now you do. Also, you'll see that I'm wearing gloves. Squash emits some sort of substance when you cut them, and I don't like the way it feels on my hands. I'm a very texture-oriented person. And so I wear gloves. Now you know. I do this with all squash. Crookneck squash, zucchini, all of it. So you just, I don't know if you can see the seeds from there, but you just take and use the edge of the spoon to scrape out all the seeds. And then you have, gosh, it smells so good. I did not think that I would like butternut squash, but we wanted to try it. And so my husband said, let's try planting it. It's a great crop. And if it does well, it's once we have the space, like a cold room for storage, we can store it. I said, that's a great idea. Now, understand that we live in the deep South. There is no such thing as a basement here. Not really. And as a result, one does not have cold storage, typically speaking, in the South. So we're going to have to build our own. Now our ground, the ground stays cold all year long, right? You go down however many inches, I forget. It's a couple feet, and it's 60 something degrees at all times in the year, which is great. Unless you live where there's spring heads everywhere, and we do. So just digging into the ground and doing like a root cellar doesn't work here. We're too close to sea level. Plus we have spring heads literally all over our land. The whole of the 16 acres is covered in spring heads. So we can't just dig a root cellar. That's not a thing. In fact, you really don't find those here in the South. And a lot of it is because the ground is so wet due to being so close to sea level. Anyway, so we've got several ideas on how to do this. And as we develop those ideas and start that process, I will make sure to bring you guys along. But the plan after we have the pasture fenced in and the animals all situated is to look at possibly building some cold storage over on the other side of the property. Maybe it doesn't seem smart not to build it right here close, but we really don't have any place right here close to do it. So this is going to be our system because we have no other choice. Now, this is the first year we've done butternut squash. So I have no idea if I'm doing this or if there's an easier way to do this or what. So if you know something about butternut squash, let me know. Now my Ida doesn't love the butternut squash soup, but the farmer and I do. And it'll be a good, easy meal for us during the winter. And I'm always looking for easy meals because, traditionally, stay-at-home mom, I could cook all day long if I wanted to, but my days aren't like that anymore because I work from home. So this will just make it easy on those really busy days. Whew. Well, this one maybe wasn't quite finished growing. So we're going to have to, there. Okay, there we go. Anyway, and we use that quite often too. And last night I made a soup recipe that I sort of just made up on the fly, and it was delicious. So the next time I make that, I've got it all written down. The next time I make that, I'm going to film that for you too. It's a creamy chicken soup, and it was just delicious. Whew. Some of these are hard to cut through. We planted 3 successions of squash, and I don't know if this is the last of the squash or not. I know that I've put up one other batch. I just cut it up and freeze dried it whole. Well, not whole, but not roasted is what I'm saying. Raw is what I meant. But I thought he had a 3rd batch, and I don't know that I've done anything with that one yet. So I may have more coming, which would be just about right, wouldn't it? The thing with farming is that the work never really ends. But when you enjoy the work, it's really not that big a deal that it never ends. And I enjoy being in my kitchen. Anybody else like that? Drop a comment if you're like that. You love the kitchen. And I really am. I mean, I know I work from home, and so people would tell you that's not traditional wife. But I am very much the traditional wife. I work to pay my bills, but I love being in the kitchen. I love caring for my family and for my home. And I think that's the root of being that traditional wife, as it were. There are some Judeo-Christian values, I suppose, that go with that for me. Some very Christian values that go with that for me. And I don't know that that's the case for everybody who wants to live the kind of traditional gender roles. And I think probably in today's society, that's not a thing you're supposed to say, but there it is. Y'all know me. I don't go by what society thinks I'm supposed to say. So there's that. This one wasn't fully developed. I'm going to get closer to the camera so you can see. There are no seeds really in it. It's super, super tender though. Probably be delicious just sauteed in a pan. But I don't have the time or energy for that today. So it's going in with the rest of them. Excuse me. Goodness. Whew. Okay. I got 2 more left. Are y'all tired of listening to me babble yet? Because I'm on my own, I can't just stop and start it. So I'm afraid you have to listen to me babble for a little while. But when I'm done cutting them and de-seeding them, I'll speed it up a little. And you can see the rest on full speed ahead. And I'll just voice over so that you don't have to listen to me babble. Which you're probably thinking is the greatest plan ever. Anyway, so how do you feel about traditional roles? And tell me a little about the role that you play in your family. Are you the one in the kitchen? Are you the one who cooks and cleans outside or inside? We do have fairly traditional roles in our house, but to be honest with you, my husband's a great cook. He prefers to grill than to cook, but on the nights when I'm not feeling well, he steps up and he does the work, and it's always delicious. So we have mostly traditional roles, but because I work and he works, some of those roles, like I don't do all the laundry. He does his own laundry, Ida does her own laundry, and I do mine. No, I do like mine and his bath towels. I do the kitchen towels, but we each do our own laundry. We're all adults here, right? Well, she's almost an adult. She's 16. And she can do her own laundry. So, and he occasionally will step in and wash dishes when one of us isn't feeling well. So, woo, mercy. And they're pretty good about cooking on the nights when I'm busy. Like Tuesday nights are pretty packed for me with classes. So someone else cooks that day. Typically speaking, it's Ida. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and speed this process up for you a little bit. And see you back here when it's time to do something else with these squash. Okay, now it's time to clean up a little bit. But first, I'm going to have to sit down. My back has been hurting me for a couple days, and I don't want to overtax it because I need to keep doing stuff like this. So before all of the cleanup happens, I'm going to fix an iced coffee and go sit on a heating pad and let my back relax a little while. And then I'll come back and clean up. I've got a timer set for 45 minutes. Now, as you saw in the clip before, and I probably said this, but there are things roasting that are not butternut squash. That's all going to go in the soup. When it's all done, I will put some garlic in a pot with butter and oil and saute that along with possibly a little bit of ginger. And then I will put the herbs and spices and things in it and put all of that in that pot. And then I will use my immersion blender to blend it up until it's smooth. And I will be putting that, once it's fully cooled, I will put that in the freeze dryer. So let's see how this works. Welcome back. Now everything's been cooling because I don't like to touch, boiling hot vegetables. Not boiling, but steaming hot vegetables. There we go. That's what I meant. So it's all cool now. I've started this without turning on the camera. So all of the carrots and bell peppers are already in there that you saw earlier. And now I'm pulling the squash out of its shells. There's a whole lot of squash sugar that's going in there as well. And so when that's done, I'll bring you back and show you the next step. I have no idea what happened to my microphone here, and I apologize that you're now having to listen to a voiceover. But I'm fairly certain all I'm telling you is how I'm finishing this soup. Basically, I'm taking a jar of my home canned broth, and I'm pouring that in to add just a little liquid. It was a little too thick, if I recall correctly. So essentially, I'm just going to take my immersion blender and I'm going to blend it and whir it all over the place until it's nice and smooth. Now, when we get to the end of this video, you don't get to see the final product, but at the very end of this video, right before the outro, I will insert a picture of what the powder looks like now so that you can see how it came out. I apologize for that. Not real sure where my brain was. So here you see me moving things around. I cleaned my hands, so I stick my hand right in the soup because this is all, for my family. Now, obviously, I was telling you something important. Note the hand on the hip, but I have no idea what it was.